Hello, everyone. This is Nidhi from Designhill, your host for the day. I hope you and your family are keeping well and safe in these testing times. I would like to welcome you all for this webinar with Amy, where we're going to discuss about Google Ads and how profitably you can grow your business with them. Today's event is brought to you by Designhill, world's leading creative marketplace that caters to the creative needs of businesses and individuals alike, who can source high quality designs from professional designers through its print on demand marketplace called Print Shop by Designhill. You can also buy 50 plus unique products with thousands of artworks created by a world class community of independent artists. So, moving ahead, let me introduce our guest for today. We have with us Amy Hebdon. Amy has been managing SEM accounts professionally since 2004. She is the founder of Google partner agency and consulting firm Paid Search Magic and was recently named one of PPC Heroes top 25 most influential PPC experts of 2020. How cool is that? She also co-hosts the Facebook group Google Ads for Savvy Digital Marketers, which you can join for free. Amy is also certified in Google AdWords, Google Analytics, Bing Ad Center, Market Motive, and uh, MEC LAVS. I really do not know how to pronounce that, but so she has a proven track of managing accounts and maintaining strong client relationships. Amy manages and trains support teams in digital marketing and optimization. She also has hands on experience in social media, SEO, landing page testing, content marketing, display, and email marketing. Thank you so much, Amy, for taking out time from your schedule and joining us here for today. Would you like to say a quick hi to the audiences?
Yeah, hi everyone. I'm so excited to be here. Thank you so much to Designhill for having me. I think this is going to be a really great session.
We are sure of that too, Amy. So great. Before we start the session, guys, here is the big announcement. We are giving away certificates to the attendees for this event who would stick till the end of the workshop. The only condition is that you have to be here throughout the event and not just, disappear in between. So you can't just miss on this chance. So please stay tuned till the end. Also, do take screenshot of this event and post it on your Twitter and tag Designhill Diet and Amy's Twitter handle, which is AmyPPC. Harshita, my teammate, would be putting up Amy's handle on the chat section as well for you to copy. Please also use the hashtag Designhill event so that we can identify you because one lucky winner who we choose will have a chance to win a print shop gift card worth $50. Along with that, as a gesture of appreciation that you could join us for this event, we will be sharing some special offers for you. Please keep an eye on our chat section to get the same. All right, so before we start the session, let's quickly look at what Design Hill is all about.
Need to get your parents off your back? Head to the world's #1 creative marketplace, Designhill.
When I started my photography business, I needed something that said, this was more than just a hobby. It's not a hobby, Mom. That's why I went to Designhill and got an amazing logo, super fast, at a price I could afford. The process was easy using Designhill's logo maker. Just enter the name of your business, then pick out a number of designs that inspire you. I'll pick this one and that one looks cute. Then pick your colors or let the system decide. Add some more info like a slogan, the industry your business is in, and your budget. The logo maker, using machine learning and artificial intelligence, will design thousands of logo variants that you can choose from and adapt. In fact, I was able to get everything from business cards to t-shirt design and complete social media kit, all with the click of a button. With that, I'm all set. Now everyone I meet knows I'm a legit photographer. Even my mom. It's real. That's decaf.
Let the world know it's real and build your brand with Designhill.
All right, that was all about Designhill, and now we are all set to start the session. Guys, we will be taking up questions during the session, so if you have any, please drop them in the questions tab, not on the chat, but in the questions tab, because in chat section they can get lost. So into the questions tab. Amy, over to you.
Okay, great. Let me just pull up my my screen here.
Sure.
All right, so we're going to be talking about how to profitably win new clients with Google Ads. We had, I think, a pretty great introduction there. Let me just, okay, sorry, 1 second. All right, so the learning outcomes we're going to be focusing on today is how to sell your products in Google, products and services on Google Ads without selling out or wasting money. I know this is a big concern for a lot of you, is that there's such a risk of wasting money or not getting results right away, or just doing it the wrong way. So we're going to address that. We're going to look at how to grow your business by reaching ideal clients with the right offers and messaging, identifying which Google Ads metrics to focus on and which to ignore. This is another big thing. And I think a lot of people are confused about what the right metrics are to be looking at. And then we're going to be looking at how to turn your paid search data insights, paid search data into insights that drive better performance without using expensive agencies or contractors. So like, I don't know that I need to go over my bio anymore. You guys already heard it, but you are welcome to join the Facebook group, Google Ads for Savvy Digital Marketers. It's free. It's probably the best Google Ads Facebook group that there is. So we'd love to have you join to get more information there. So the three main points, the three main kind of sections for this presentation are going to be how you can avoid wasting money and how to get your offer right, which are different. Like, ultimately, they both lead to growing revenue for your business, but they're really there are different ways of doing that, and then how to optimize for profit. And I do just want to say right at the beginning, because I know optimize can be kind of a buzzword. Optimize just means doing more of what works and less of what doesn't. So when you hear, if I use the term optimization through here, that's really what I'm talking about. Finding that thing that works and doing more of it. We have so much data, especially from Google Ads, that it becomes really, really important to know how to use that data and find what's working and lean into that, and then cut the rest. So the first thing I want to look at is that a lot of times people have a preconception about Google Ads that isn't right, that actually holds them back. And so I just want to address this. People will think that ads are cheating or a waste or a scam somehow. And a lot of times we'll hear about businesses that say, oh, well, we grew up to 8 figures without ads. And we think, oh, that's what I should be doing, right? That ads are the things that you do if no one knows who you are, or good enough otherwise. And so we don't want to be seen as someone who has to rely on ads. But that really couldn't be further from the truth, because companies, big companies invest in marketing. You don't invest in marketing only until someone's heard of you. You keep on investing in marketing, and Google Ads is a great way to do that. So it's not just a matter of it being a band-aid or in competition with SEO. We hear that a lot. Well, should I do organic or should I do paid? And even just those two ways of thinking about it, organic versus something that's inorganic. Paid isn't inorganic. It's a really authentic way to reach people. So like, if you're not sure what an ad is, or if it's a little bit new to you, like here we have an ad for the iPhone. You can tell what an ad is because it'll have this little label here that says ad. So if someone's searching for iPhone, then ahead of the stories, ahead of the other organic links that might be showing up, ahead of Best Buy selling the iPhone, Apple is showing up with the iPhone. That's all it is. It's finding those people who are looking for you and getting in front of them at that moment where they're most likely to take action. So you can really curate and craft that experience that they have. Make sure they're going to you on the buy page and not the about page, or not comparing it to your competitors, but really learning about that. So the way to think of it is that Google Ads lets you put your best offer in front of your ideal audience when they're most ready to take action. And if you understand this principle, I think everything about Google Ads, everything that seems complicated, or there's so much data or so many numbers, it all becomes a lot more easier, and a lot more easy. It becomes easier, and everything else kind of falls into place. So your best offer is one that makes money for you, right? So you want the return that you get to be more than the cost that you put into it. You want your return on investment or return on ad spend to be positive. You want to make the offer that you're promoting something that's easy for your customers and clients to buy or to book or to order. This is another area that a lot of people struggle with, because what they do is they're taking people just to a page where they don't really know what action to take. Something you may hear me say a lot is that a confused mind says no. If we're not sure what action to take, we tend to not take action at all. And so by making something really easy to take the next step for, you're making it more likely that people are going to take that action. And then the last thing you want to make sure for your offer is that you have a good product market fit. That means that people are looking for what you have, that you are solving a problem for them. Looking at the reason that startups fail, the top one is that there's no market need. So there's a company that invested a lot into maybe R&D and production, but they didn't invest in making sure that they're solving a problem for people. And if you think of when you go to Google, you don't go to Google to browse, you don't go to Google to see what's new, you go to Google because you have a need. You're like searching for some sort of solution to a problem, whether that's, to fix your air conditioning unit or to find something to buy or to get information about something. And we need to make sure we're showing up as solutions to those problems. And that's really a great way to ensure profitability, is to make sure that there's a market need, that you have a product market fit. So your ideal audience is going to be people, buyers who want what you're selling. And this is a really important thing, especially when we get looking at metrics and KPIs, is a lot of times people, when we think of advertising, we think of reach, we think of exposure, and how can I get the most people to know about my product? Exposure is not the goal. I cannot emphasize this enough. There's millions and billions of searches that are happening on Google, right? It's the largest search engine. So if it's just a matter of getting your ad in front of a bunch of people, that there's not much of a point to that, because you're going to be paying when people click, whether or not they buy. So you want to make sure you're getting in front of the right people who are likely to not only click, but buy from you. So when you start to focus on like, well, how many impressions did I get? How many people saw the ad? Or how cheap was the cost per click? The wrong things to do. We want to focus on buyers first, and really buyers only. We don't want to care about everyone who we could potentially reach who's not in our audience, right? We want to focus on the people who are most likely to take action and drive revenue for us, so our revenue is higher than our costs. So most ready to take action is people who are actively looking for your offer. And sometimes I know this can be confusing, so I want to just give you an offline example of how this works in the real world, because it's really a very basic sequence of events. So if someone goes into a store and asks for, where's the puzzles, and the clerk says, oh, they're in aisle 19, and that person goes over and finds a jigsaw puzzle that they like in the puzzle section. If you think of this sequence of events, that same thing happens online every single second. That instead of going to a store, we're going to Google. Instead of going to a store to say jigsaw puzzles, we're going to Google to say jigsaw puzzles. And instead of a clerk saying, oh, here's where they are, Google is saying, oh, here's where you can find them, right? Through ads and organic listings. And then instead of going to an actual aisle, we end up on landing pages that have the products we're looking for sale. And so that's the exact sequence. It just is happening in an online form. And again, this is something that it may sound simple, but if you can understand this, you're going to be really set up for success, versus everyone else who's trying to like jump in front of someone who's looking for something else with their offer, or who doesn't really understand how people are thinking. When someone tells you what they want in Google, that's what they want. That's what they're looking for. They're going to ignore you if you're not relevant to what they're trying to solve for. So you want to make sure you pick the right keywords that are exactly relevant to that search that relates back to your offer. So we're going to think about these building blocks of keywords, what someone's searching for, ads, how to tell them where to find your product, and then landing pages, which is where they can go to buy or sign up for your product or service. So just to reiterate, Google Ads lets you put your best offer in front of your ideal audience when they're most ready to take action. So that's like the most important part of how all this works together, I think, that we could have. Let me just make sure I'm not missing any questions here.
No, we don't have any questions as
Okay.
yet. I'll definitely, I'll ask you once they are there.
Okay, perfect.
Okay.
So then the second thing I want to address is sometimes people assume that ads aren't going to work for their business, whether it's services or high ticket or low ticket. There's all sorts of reasons that people say, oh, well, Google Ads won't work for me. And Google Ads really can work for just about any business. What you want to make sure is that you have the right offer. And offer your product, what you sell, combined with how much it sells for, combined with how you position it. And obviously, you're not limited to anything. Kind of sky's the limit in terms of what you sell ultimately, and then what you sell using your Google Ads. But this is something you're going to have to make a decision on, because you're going to get metrics back about what a conversion is. So that's something that you or your team needs to set up, is deciding what a conversion is. So it's not a standardized metric the same way as that if someone clicks on your ad, that's a click. If someone sees your ad, that's an impression. You know, a lot of metrics, like, they're the same all the time, but a conversion is something where you decide to put a pixel or to consider some sort of event that's important for your business to be a conversion. But there's no, not only are there no specifications, but you could honestly have a lot of different kinds of conversions. And I've seen this happen in a lot of accounts where someone's like, oh, if someone views that page, that's a conversion. Or if I sell this thing, that's a conversion. Well, those two things are very different, and they mean something very different to your business, whether someone views a page or views 10 pages or watches a video versus if someone buys a 5-figure product, right? So you don't want to confuse those or conflate them. So if you have a really easy conversion, you're going to have a high conversion rate because people are going to take action. Whereas if you have a really expensive conversion, if you're saying, you know, I'm selling this high value thing, you're probably going to have a lower conversion rate, but that still could be more valuable. So just for an example, if you were selling a house and you were saying buy now, you're probably going to have a very low conversion rate for that. But, you know, assuming this is something you could do, that's going to be more valuable than saying enter to win a house, where you could get lots of conversion, lots of people entering a contest, but you don't make any money. In fact, you lose money because you just gave away a house. Now, of course, on the back end, this could actually work out because maybe you're doing some sort of lead generation thing where you're getting entries and then they're you're doing something else and you know you make money that way. But that's always the important thing to consider when you're setting up for conversions. What do you want to have happen? Do you want to be getting calls, you know, a high conversion rate where you're dealing with a lot of phone calls, or only working with people who are ready to buy, in which case you're going to have a lower conversion rate, but you're going to have more qualified leads. And so all of those things are things that you're going to need to figure out for your business before you start marketing. Otherwise, it's going to be really hard to untangle once you start collecting that data to say, did this even work the way we wanted it to? Is it driving business growth or is it not? Because you didn't make that decision. So this is something really important to understand. This is going to be what we call a KPI, your key performance indicators, how well something converted and what that conversion means for your business. I also want to talk about something you may be familiar if you do a lot of marketing with the blue ocean strategy, right? The blue ocean framework of saying that all your competitors are swimming in a red ocean, that there's a bunch of competition and there's not a whole lot of opportunity. So you need to establish a blue ocean. You need to go where there's fresh water and there's a lot of opportunity, and you're kind of the only one in the space, which can be a really great way to grow your business. But when it comes to the paid search aspect of it for Google Ads, you do want to make sure that, again, it's going back to product market fit, that you're solving a problem that people have. Because if people aren't looking for you, then you're gonna have a real hard time getting in front of them because they're not searching for you. So you do need to make sure that you're solving that problem. And it's something that comes up a lot when we ask clients or prospects, like, well, you know, what space are you in? They're like, oh, it's so unique. It's so unique. No one does what we do. If no one is doing it and no one knows about it and no one knows it exists, that makes it a lot harder to promote and to find qualified leads and prospects with Google Ads. So you do want to make sure that, again, it goes back to problem solving, that you're solving problems for clients. You don't just exist in this weird space, but this is actually something that you're able to solve for people. So when we think about the funnel of marketing, there's top of funnel activity, which is generating awareness. There's middle of funnel, which is interest or evaluation. And then bottom of funnel is when people decide to try or purchase from you. When we're looking at paid search, when we're looking at those search ads on Google Ads, we want to make sure you're in the middle of the funnel or the bottom of the funnel. We're not looking at the top of funnel. So awareness, attraction, like informing someone for the first time, like they don't even know they have a problem when you're getting in front of them. This is not the time to be doing that. Someone's already searching for you, so you are already doing a search. So when they're already in that search mode, if you're showing up, you want to be the solution to that problem that they're searching for already. Another thing to keep in mind for how all this works is that Google Ads runs on an auction model. So that means that the value, how much you're going to pay, depends on how much your competitors pay, and how much your competitors pay depends on how valuable that click or that prospect is. So you need to know who your competitors are and what they're promoting. So for instance, if I wanted to buy a piece of land because I wanted to build a tree house on it, that might be worth a certain small amount of money to me. But if there's a investment real estate company that wanted to buy it to build a high rise, it's worth a lot more to them. That land is worth a lot, and they will pay a lot more to acquire that land. And if we're in an auction, they will always beat me in that auction. The value that it is to them. So it's really important to understand the landscape of what your competition is getting from this. So you always pay for clicks. You sometimes sell your products and services. I think sometimes people are very optimistic about how important their products are, and they assume that they'll have a 100% conversion rate. That is, if anyone clicks my ad, what they see is exactly what they want, and they will buy it. That is never ever true. If you're getting a 100% conversion rate, then your conversion tracking is probably set up wrong, because that's just not how it works. People aren't always ready to buy immediately. They're not always ready to take action. So you need to be aware that you're going to be paying for the click no matter what. So you need to make sure it's as valuable for you as possible, because they're not always going to sell your product. And if a click is valuable to you, it's likely valuable to your competition, and you'll pay more to win the auction. So, excuse me, just like that, if land isn't very valuable to me, I probably don't want to bid on it, right? I probably don't want to buy that opportunity. When we're looking at in the space where there's a potential for a conversion to be really valuable, say like in attorneys or certain lead generation programs, it's going to be valuable to our competitors as well. This is also really true in a marketplace where, say, if I'm a boutique hotel and I'm selling, I want to fill my rooms for the weekend, and I'm competing with Expedia or Travelocity, and they have so much more inventory, it's a lot more likely that they're going to make that sale, that they're going to make a sale from it, because a visitor isn't just choosing from one hotel, they're choosing from a lot. They're likely to find something that meets their needs. So they're likely to get a booking. It's much more likely that they'll have a conversion from that. So understanding how your competition fits in the space is really important too. Your competition is really anyone who's showing up on Google Ads at the same time that you are. So your competition might be Amazon, or it might be a Fortune 500 company that if you were to sit down and do some analysis on your competitors, you wouldn't ever consider Amazon to be your competitor, but within the space of the auction for those Google Ads, they might be. So that's something to understand. Sometimes people are really surprised at how much Google Ads can cost for their term because of the profit margins for their competitors. And so that's something to be aware of. So there's no minimum budget, and you don't need to decide spend in advance. Everyone wants to know, well, how much do I need to spend? You don't need to, you're not filling out an insertion order. You're not committing to a certain amount of spend. You could run it for a day and stop it if you want. I don't recommend you do that, but that's something you could do, and you can always adjust your spend based on your return. There's a lot of optimization that can happen, which is what makes it such a great way of marketing, is because you're always learning, you're taking in that data, and you're making improvements. So then the next thing you want to address is, how can you optimize or manage or outsource your ads and measure success? And this is something that everyone needs to know, right? A lot of people want to have Google Ads running, and they don't necessarily want to run their own campaigns. Especially if you're a business owner and you're trying to do everything at the same time. Like it's a new skill to learn Google Ads, and so you may not want to invest in learning to do it yourself, or you may. One thing that I think is really important to understand is that when you're running Google Ads for yourself, you're able to, if you know how to look at that data, and we're gonna go a little bit deeper here in a few minutes, but if you understand how to look at that data, then not only can you make Google Ads run better for you, but you also are learning more about your audience. You're learning more about what they're looking for, what's valuable for them, what's not valuable for them. And you can ultimately use this to create better iterations of your product or of your messaging about your product, of your positioning. So I compare this to, like, if you need to take care of your sick child, that's a very different skill set than if you wanted to study to be a pediatrician. That's going to take a lot of years of schooling. It's going to take a lot of work on residency and interning and everything else. But to just take care of your sick child, you can do a pretty decent job of that, because you're only dealing with, with one person, and you don't have to solve for everything. And that's very similar to running Google Ads. If you can just manage your account, then you don't have to, your account isn't going to be e-commerce and lead gen and shopping and phone tracking and everything all at once, right? You have your one business. You don't know how to do it. You don't need to know how to do it for every business. And a lot of times when people are Googling or they're reading articles, there's so much information because it's covering such a big range of topics that they get really confused and think, oh, this is going to be too much. But it doesn't actually have to be too much if you're just doing it for you. Doing it for everyone is a much different skill set, but you can actually, it's easier than people think to learn how to do it for yourself and to make it run for yourself. Optimization is easier than it sounds. And remember, we talked about this at the beginning. Optimization is doing more of what works and less of what doesn't. That's all it is. So I'm gonna walk through this just for the sake of illustration to, again, kind of help drive this concept home. Success is when the intent that someone goes to Google to search for, like what they have in their mind, the problem they're trying to solve for, and the experience that you provide match. So in this case, we have the intent of someone's looking for ice cream, and then they go to a little ice cream stand, they get their ice cream, and they're happy, right? So that intent is matched all the way through. What doesn't work is if someone's intent is different from what you offer. That's a fail, right? If someone wants a donut and we have an ice cream shop, then they're going to be disappointed because they're not going to find any donuts. The reason that I even bring this up, because this could feel really obvious in a cartoon, the reason that it comes up is because a lot of times people are probably overthinking how to run Google Ads. And so they're doing research about, well, what keyword gets the most volume? And so let's say that a donut is searched for 5 times as often as an ice cream cone is. And then they're like, oh, I can just go for donuts. And then I can try to convince someone the ice cream is better or something like that, right? There's kind of like a weird mindset that happens sometimes. If you don't sell donuts, don't bid on donuts. It's like that simple. Don't bid on something. Don't use keywords that don't describe your offer, because that's going to result in a really low conversion rate. And remember, you're paying for those clicks. Every time someone clicks your ad, you're paying for that. And if you're paying for a click and it's not likely to become a conversion, if they're not likely to buy from you, that's a bad experience for them, but then you wasted that money. So there's no reason to do that. Another time where it doesn't work very well is if their intent is what you sell. So in this case, you're an ice cream but let's say you get to the ice cream stand and it's closed. Well, that's a bad experience because they can't buy from you. The equivalent of this is if you have a landing page that doesn't properly help someone find what they're looking for. Either it's hard to buy, or they have unanswered questions, or they can't see a way to complete the task that they're trying to do. And that also happens a lot. Maybe you take them to the wrong page on your site, or you just don't present an easy way to move forward and take action. You say, we have all these ice creams available, but you don't show how to buy them, right? You're just like, oh, ask us, and you don't, and no one knows how to do that. And so it becomes really difficult. So you want to avoid that too. So this little matrix that I have for you is just how to think about this to get it set up correctly. So your intent, your keywords, and your search terms with the experience that the customer has will drive conversions. Like you want that sequence, and you want to do more of that. If you have keywords that aren't reflective of what you sell or offer, you want to cut those bad intent keywords and search terms out. And if you have what you offer is not, you're not providing the right experience, either because it's not on the page or it's not easy to buy, then you want to improve that customer experience or offer.
I am absolutely loving these examples because, it kinds of summarizes everything that you have told us and, educated us on. And, this makes a lot of sense and makes it very easy for starters like me and Harshita to understand as to what Google Ads are all about. These are very small and basic nuances that makes a lot of difference. So thank you so much, Amy. And we do have questions Will it be okay if we take a few questions and then we break for mid-roll and then we can always continue?
Of course, yeah.
Right. So we have a couple of questions in the questions tab, and guys, I'm asking you to ask more and more questions, and the questions with maximum upvotes will be taken up and answered live by Amy. So please do not hesitate and just come on. So here is the first question by Krishna. It has got 5 upvotes by the people in our audience. He asks what to focus on in starting Google Ads and how to know difference between Google Ads and Facebook Ads conversions. So he's talking from conversion point of view. So how to know the difference between Google Ads and Facebook Ads conversion.
So in both cases, you're probably going to be using a pixel to set up, to track what a conversion is. And in both cases, that it's user defined. So when you have a conversion, you're going to be putting that pixel on the conversion page, whether that's a thank you page or whatever it is, and you're going to be tracking that. Now, I would say that both platforms have kind of a same, they both have a bias that they take too much credit for themselves. So if you're looking at if you're looking at, let's say, just using Google Analytics or some sort of overall tracking system to see how your web analytics are doing, Google Analytics is going to show fewer conversions from Facebook than Facebook will show you, and it will show you fewer conversions from Google Ads than Google Ads will show you, because both Facebook and Google are a little bit jealous. Like, they'll take a lot of credit, so they'll say, hey, someone clicked on our ad, and maybe they converted not from the ad, but then they went back and visited the website, or they clicked on a different ad later, but both of them will say, hey, but we contributed to that. It's a touch point, right? And so you need to be aware that if you're only looking at the conversion counts within the platform, whether that's Google Ads or whether it's Facebook, they're both going to over-report. So you're going to be dealing with more ultimate conversions than you are when you're looking at a platform that says, hey, we got 1,000 conversions in total, so let's take the total and divide it up. So you do need to be aware of that. But as for the difference between Facebook and Google, they're different pixels, and you could pixel the same page, you could pixel different pages. It's completely up to you how you want to set those conversions up.
Right. Thank you so much, Amy. And this was actually one of the most asked questions from our registrants as well, as to, when starting out in ads, where should they get started and how to choose between, starting out with Facebook ads versus Google ads. So thank you so much for answering that. Do you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, and actually, I think in the presentation, I'll get into a little bit more of when kind of how to go about setting up the best way to set up Google Ads for your business. But if no one knows about you, then Facebook is a great way to introduce people to that. Google Ads is not a great way to introduce people to that. You can use YouTube, and that can be great. You can use display ads, and that can be great. But neither of those are going to convert like a Facebook ad will, because in Facebook, just someone scrolling through, they're taking in information, whereas with, let's say, YouTube, they're there to watch a video that's probably not about your product, right? And so it becomes a little bit, there's a little bit more of a barrier or a hurdle to actually convert. So if you have something that's brand new that no one's ever heard about and you want to get in front of them, Facebook is probably the better way. If you have something that solves a problem for people that they're solution for, Google Ads is a really great way to do that. You're going to be able to get people that are more ready to buy, get higher conversion rates, and reach the right audience more of the time with Google Ads than you would for Facebook for that.
Great. Thank you so much for that comparison. It will really be very, very helpful to the audiences. And we do have a lot of questions. I mean, only many questions around landing pages here I can see. Since you're a landing page expert to yourself, so can you please ask this question by Co? He says, what is the best way to get to set up landing pages for your Google advertised products? And we have one more then, but let's get started with this. So yeah, please, can you please answer that for us?
Yeah, I'm not sure that I want to make sure I understand the question. Are you asking about the software to be using, or about like what should be on the page? So if it's the software, you can use any, like, I think this is a little bit of a misconception, and it's because of marketing. Like, there are marketers that benefit a lot from you using their software tools, so they tell you you have to use their software. You don't. We have a lot of success driving to landing pages that are actually just pages on the site that we have put a pixel on. Like, it does not have to be a dedicated landing page in the traditional sense that there's no navigation and nothing else someone can do. Like, it's fine to drive to a site, like to a regular website, and in some cases it can outperform a dedicated landing page if there's nothing else to do. There's use cases to be made for both of them. But if you don't actually have a website, or there's a reason that you wouldn't want to use that because it's not going to be the best experience for your users, and you want to set something up that's separate than that, then Unbounce is a really good, easy solution. You do have to pay for it, but it's a great way to get started right away, just with a landing page that is optimized and is probably going to work well.
Great, thank you so much. And we have another question around a landing page. Christopher asks, can your landing page be your Facebook page?
That's an interesting question. I'm trying to remember. Can your landing page be your face? I mean, yes, it can. Yes, you can drive people to your Facebook page. It's just a matter of how you're going to track it and what is the action that you want to have happen with it. That would be my biggest concern, because a Facebook page doesn't typically provide a good way to take action. So if I'm going to be paying, if I'm going to be investing money in someone clicking on my ad, remember, Google ads are a premium. So if you want to use Facebook to drive people to your Facebook page, you know, that's fine because of how it's set up. But if you're paying more money on Google, you want to provide a solution. And I found it's pretty unlikely that a Facebook page is going to be able to provide that solution. It might kind of hint at a solution, but there's no conversion that's going to happen on that page for the most part, unless I'm misunderstanding the question. And in that case, if no conversion's happening there, you don't want to be paying to drive traffic there. You want to be driving them to the page that they can convert from or take action on.
Right. Thank you so much. And Christopher, I hope that answers your question. Maisha, I know you have asked a question, but we'll ask that in the second half of the session. Now is the time for withdrawal. And I hope you guys are enjoying the session. But before we move forward, I would like to give a quick shout out to Designhill for organizing this event. Stay tuned. We will be right back to hear more from Amy.
Clarematics is a full-service video agency based around video production. We created a brand that fit our identity at the time, but as we've evolved as a company, we found that that original brand didn't quite fit our aspirations anymore. Finding a partner to rebrand your entire company takes a lot of time and effort. Finding Designhill was an incredible lifeline. Designhill offers a money-back guarantee. If we don't like any of the designs, we get all of our money back. The stuff that we ended up with were well beyond what we had been seeing on other creative services platforms. After creating a simple design brief by answering some questions created by Designhill, we posted, and within a few days, we had over 250 entries. Designhill's platform made it easy to communicate with all the potential designers. Eventually, we picked a winner. In addition to a logo, our designer also created a letterhead, business cards, and banners for all of our social media platforms. With Designhill's help, letterhead, business cards, and banners for all of our social media platforms. With Designhill's help, we now have a brand that meets our aspirations. We're ready for the future and everything that it's here to bring.
All right, are we ready to jump back in? Okay.
Yes, we are back again, and Amy, you can continue with the presentation.
All right, great. So we just finished looking at basically the optimization process, right? So we're looking at, you only want to bid on keywords that are related to what you offer. It does not matter if there's keywords that have a great, you know, that there's a high volume of keywords, you know, that they get searched for a lot. It doesn't matter if those aren't relevant to your business. You don't want to bid on, you don't want to say, I'll pay for clicks on donut if you don't sell donuts. I hope that's really clear. So let's try one. And I hope that this is kind of puts where the rubber hits the road a little bit, right? Because we just kind of like look through some cartoons and illustrations. When you're actually looking at all these numbers and all this data, it feels really different. It's not as easy to tell, like, oh, is this donuts or ice cream? And this is even a basic example, but we have so much data when we're looking at Google Ads that it can be hard to know what to focus on. Here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 columns of metrics. Like, you could really have 50 columns of metrics. There are so many metrics to be looking at. So how do you make a decision? How do you optimize? So when we're looking at all of this data, right, we could start to sort for, like, well, what has the most impressions? What has the most clicks? How about the click-through rate? How much are we spending? What's the cost per click? There's all these different metrics we can look at, but what we want to look at is the thing that's most valuable to your business. In this case, we're looking at coupon downloads with a cost per download we want to optimize to get the most people downloading the coupon. So in this case, we're not looking at something that's a e-commerce sale. We're looking at just people are getting a coupon and then they're hopefully going to the store to use it. That's why they would be downloading it. So you can see that the conversion rate here over on the very last, the very right side of this is anywhere from 30% to 0.2%. And that's driving a significantly different cost per download. So we're looking at anywhere from $3 to $700. Well, hopefully when we're looking only at this, that starts to stand out of what we need to be concerned about, right? So we're looking at what's going on that we have a cost per download of $700. That's way too much money to be spending to get people to use the coupon. And I just made this up just to clarify. I don't have a client that's spending $700 on a coupon, but just to show you when you're looking at this much data, how are you going to start to make decisions about optimization? So we have a really low conversion rate and a really high cost per download. So we're going to have to figure out what's going on. This is super important. This is a really important part of optimization, because what will happen is that sometimes we'll have someone go through who's either a newbie or just someone who doesn't understand, and they'll say, oh, well, I'm spending too much money on that. Let's cut it, right? But let's take a step back. If we actually sold organic Concord grapes, why would we cut that? We need to understand why it's not performing. And in this case, we need to go back. Let me just kind of look at this again. We need to understand, is it because we don't sell it? Or is it because we do sell it, but there's no way for someone to access that? So if we look at the landing page here, we see that nowhere does it say that these grapes are organic. So assuming that they are, because we're bidding on organic grapes, assuming that we are selling organic grapes, if we don't have it here, that's something to solve for. Remember I said at the beginning that a confused mind says no. If I click on an ad and I get to this page and I'm like, I don't think that they're organic. I don't care about getting the coupon anymore. I'm just going to go and make sure I can find organic grapes from somewhere else. So this could easily be solved by just putting organic Concord grapes on here. I don't need to create a new landing page. I don't need to do anything else other than just make sure that question is answered in the mind of my visitor. And that's all I would have to do. But it would be the wrong move to just cut this keyword completely rather than fixing the landing page. So I hope that's clear. I hope that makes some sense. So looking at how to improve your conversion rates, this is something else that, like, if you do have the right match between what someone's searching for and what you offer, how can you increase the chance that someone's going to convert or take that action that you want them to take? So letting people experience your offer is a really good way to do this. And this isn't just true for Google Ads. This is probably true for all of digital marketing, right? When we're just behind a screen, we can't taste and touch and feel something. We don't know what it is. If you're selling t-shirts, it's going to be pretty easy to put a picture of a t-shirt on and someone understands what a t-shirt is. But if you have like a SaaS business, or you have something that's a little bit harder for people to understand, you want to really go out of your way to make sure that people are able to experience it from you. So people can experience your offer by, if you have a free lesson, if you have a course, a free mini consultation, a reel or a demo that shows your process, or showing the product in action with images and videos. Remember that when you can really think of Google Ads as a comparison engine. And this is important. This is different than Facebook, because in Facebook, when you're scrolling through your feed, you're not seeing one solution compared to a bunch of different solutions. But when you're looking at Google Ads, you probably clicked on the top ad and the second one and the third one, and you can just open them up in different tabs on your browser, right? And you don't have to be ads, you'd be clicking on the organic links as well. But you're comparing a lot of different solutions to your problem, because you're trying to go through and find which one is going to work best for you. And so if you get to a page and it is what you're looking for, but it makes it hard to understand, you're just going to close out on that. You're not going to spend your time trying to dig around and understand it better. You're just going to go to the other thing that's easy to understand. So you want to make your offer easy for people to understand. So again, this is going to be a lot different with e-commerce, where if you have a product that's really easy, like t-shirts, or if you have like a more complicated e-commerce product, or if you have something that's a productized service or a service or something else, you can see how it gets deeper and deeper and harder to understand as you get further away from what people already immediately know. And then it becomes a great idea for you to give people that experience so that they're more likely to convert or to say yes to that action that you want them to take. You also want to get your pricing right and reduce risk. So the Weber-Fechner law of pricing is that people are going to prefer, everything is kind of, all the numbers that you're using become relative to each other. So saving $5 off of a $10 offer can feel really good, right? Because that's 50%. But saving $5 off of a $1,000 offer is like, you wouldn't even care about that. It's still $5. You save $5 either way, but you're not comparing $5 to $5. You're comparing 5 off of 10 or 50% to 5 off of 1,000, and that doesn't feel as good anymore. And a lot of times, companies want to have some sort of discount, or they think they need a discount, but then it's really insulting. It's like, save $50 off this $10,000 product. No one's going to care. So if you have a discount that's that is that small of a proportion or a ratio to what your overall price is, like, just don't even bother to do that. Focus on something else. You can also reduce risk with versioning. And this is where you have your product is offered at different price points based on either features or bonuses or something else that can let someone kind of choose the price that they want to pay based on, I mean, you can think of like airline tickets for this, right? Do you want the economy seat or do you want the first class seat? There's different ways you're still getting from city to city, but you can choose to pay a few $100s or a few thousands or many thousands of dollars based on that experience. And again, this is something that people are sometimes afraid to experiment with or to test, because in their minds, they think they just need to have one thing to say yes or no to. But the truth is that if someone wants your thing, if you make it really easy to decide which one is right for them, then you can increase the likelihood of someone buying from you, as opposed to, let's say you're selling flights from Denver to Los Angeles and you only had one price point. Well, that's not going to work. That's going to exclude some of your market that was looking for economy, or some of the market that's looking for first class. Having that range of options can make sense as long as you help people identify which one's right for them. You can also reduce risk with warranties and guarantees. If that's something that you offer, making it really clear to people that there's no risk of testing you out. That can be something really important to do. So this is, in terms of just getting started and in terms of knowing which keywords to focus on, I want to kind of introduce you to my little application of stages of awareness, which you may have heard of. So there's a stage of awareness where someone is completely unaware that they even have a problem, all the way to they want to buy from you, right? So that's kind of the spectrum of what we're looking at. So if someone's unaware of their problem, you don't want to spend a lot of money to get that keyword, to get that click, to try to convince them that they have a problem and convince them that you're the right solution and convince them to take action today. If someone doesn't have a headache, right then is not the time to be selling them Excedrin, right? Whereas the goal is when someone's looking exactly for what you have to offer and you show up. But the reason that this is in kind of like has different little orbits here, I can't think of the words, I'm just going to call them orbits, is that there's going to be a lot fewer people that are looking for exactly what you have to offer compared to the people that don't even have the problem. Kind of continue to go out here, like for each kind of electron, like each little ring, you're going to get further from further from the goal. So your conversion rate, you can imagine your conversion rate is going to be really high here. Your conversion rate is going to be really low here. It's going to get progressively lower each time. But there's a lot more volume on this outer ring than there is right in the center. So when you're starting out, you want to start out with the center. You want to start out with the people who like, they would absolutely buy from me if they just knew I existed. And get in front of those people who maybe don't have another way of finding you and just start showing up there. And then as you kind of saturate that, as you have good coverage for that and you're getting good returns from it, then you're going to start to move out into the other tiers where there's more volume. You're going to have more people coming through, but you're going to have to do more to qualify them or to lower your bids because your conversion rate is going to be lower. I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have about this. This is just kind of an introduction to that. And then mapping that out into how you can be approaching this with Google Ads. So we've got most aware, that's that goal, that center. Product aware, where they're familiar with your products, but they're not quite ready to buy. Solution aware is when they know about a solution, but they don't necessarily know the specific brands. Problem aware is when they know they have what the problem is, but they're not quite sure how to solve for it, right? Any problem has multiple solutions. Like if you need a house, well, you could live with your parents, you could rent a place, you could buy a place, you could just travel the world and go to I don't know, stay in a youth hostel, right? There's a lot of solutions to the problem, and then once you get to the solution, you're going to refine your search and get more specific with how you're thinking about it. And then there's unaware, just people who don't even know they have a problem. That is not the time you want to be investing in paid search, right? We want to be investing when people are likely to take action from us. So you want to protect your budget from getting people who are unaware. You want to make sure that your keywords are set up correctly so you're not just reaching those people, and you want to make sure you've got audience targeting in different ways that you can keep from showing up there. For problem and solution aware, you also want to be qualifying the click, making sure it's really obvious to them what they get on the other side of your ad. And then winning the click is what you want to do if someone's searching for something that's very specific to what you offer. And then for most aware, if someone's searching for your brand or your product already, your main thing you want to do at that point is to protect it from competitors, because they're a person who's searching is probably pretty likely to click on your organic listing because they already searched for your product or your brand. So you're likely to just naturally show up number one in the search results. But if your competitors are there and they're on top of your listing and someone's not paying a lot of attention, then your audience might be clicking on your competitor's ad rather than your listing. So you do want to make sure that you have that coverage too, that you don't just assume that because you rank high organically that's all you have to do. So in taking action, like putting this all together, the kind of pre-step is that profitably growing your business is not selling out. It's really important to understand that, because when people don't understand it and they're thinking, oh, I don't want to be doing this, this is a waste of money, it's not fair, then you're going to get worse results because you're not going to put in the proper efforts. So you want to only bid on keywords that are relevant to your offer. I hope that's really clear at this point, that that's what you want to be doing. You want to create an offer that gives your visitor a taste of what it's like to work with you. So not only do they know that you exist as a solution, but they can kind of see through that next step to like how your solution is going to improve their life, right? It's going to make things better for them. So they're not stuck with a confused mind, but they're like, oh, I want that outcome. I want to do that thing. I want to take that action or fill out that form or make that purchase or whatever that is. And then you want to optimize for business growth, not awareness or reach. So if you're just saying, how can I get the most impressions possible? You're probably approaching it the wrong way, because you want to get the most business growth possible, right? Having more impressions doesn't grow your business, doesn't take you from a 5-figure business to an 8-figure business. That it doesn't do anything for you. There's a lot of ways to get really cheap impressions. You could be showing up on an app, on a flashlight app, right? No one's reading your ad there, but there's an impression to be had if you show up that way. You want to get in front of people who are likely to take action on your offer. So you want to get in front of the right people. So you want to optimize, like we were talking about, for that conversion as opposed to just reach and awareness. All right. So with that, are there any other questions that we should answer?
Yes, we do have questions, but thank you so much, Amy. I mean, the presentation and your keynote actually diluted a lot of misconceptions that we get started with when we are starting out with Google Ads. A lot of preconceived notions actually got cleared. So thank you so much. That was very insightful and very
Great.
knowledgeable. I'm sure a lot of replays are going to be played after the session gets over. And so we do have questions. I mean, okay. So there was this question in the first half of the session by Maisha, and she wanted to know, how can I practice this skill in order to gain experience? So she's asking on the lines of, getting started with uh, educating herself on Google Ads. Is there a particular course? Maisha, please correct me if I'm wrong. But I think that's what the question means. How can she practice this skill in order to gain experience?
Yeah, so there's no great way to practice for the sake of practicing. This is all about implementation, right? If you have something to sell or to promote, that's when you're going to start to practice. You're going to start to practice on something. You're just going to do it on a small scale. So you don't want to use it too big of a budget. You want to use a small budget and just start getting in there to promote something. But Google doesn't offer a test account where you can just go in and see how would this do. Like, it's all going to involve money from someone's going to be paying for it. So if someone's paying money, whether it's you or a client, then you're going to want to make sure there's a return on that investment. And so that's probably the best way. It's if you have something to sell, if you have something to promote, then you start with that and you can refine it over time and get good at it.
Great. Thank you so much, Maisha. I hope that answers your question. Next up, we have a question from Ko. He is a very regular attendee with us for all our webinars. So thank you so much for being such a lovely attendee, Ko. He wants to ask, about pixels. Pixels are what drives people from your ad to your landing page. If so, can you tell us more about how this works?
Yeah, so pixels don't drive people to your landing page. Pixels are what track activity of a conversion on your landing page. So if someone clicks on your ad, they go to your landing page because you set up your ad to use that landing page. Like, you can't have an ad without a landing page. It's going to go somewhere, and that does not require a pixel. What requires a pixel is if you say, when someone gets to our thank you page after they bought something or after they sign up for us, we want to count that as a conversion. So that's where the pixel comes in. It's user defined. It's you saying, I want this to be a conversion. So that, again, that could be anything. So you want to be careful about this, because you could say, anytime someone shows up on my homepage, that's a conversion. Well, that's not going to give you a lot of good information on how to optimize, right? Because that's not growing your business. So you want to pixel those pages that relate back to business growth, if that makes sense.
All right, all right. Thank you so much. And there's one more question by Adrian. I hope I'm pronouncing that name correctly. Uh, okay, is Google Ads a good way for job recruiting?
That's a good question. And that's made more complicated by the fact that Google has essentially a jobs, what's it called? They have a jobs platform, right? I don't find that it's especially good for that, for the same reason that, any marketplace is going to probably be better, because most people who are looking for jobs are going to be going to Indeed or something like that. So if you just have one job that you're offering versus Indeed, which has thousands of jobs, that's more likely to get a conversion. And so they're going to be paying more for that auction. And so you're going to have to pay the same amount that Indeed would pay, but your chances of conversion are a lot lower. So I would think, because you could advertise or use an Indeed sort of site, I would consider doing that rather than competing against Indeed for that auction, if that makes sense.
That's a really great answer. If there's already a set industry for doing something, it's going to be tough for us to compete with them. Thank you so much for answering these questions. I do have a few questions with me, though you have covered a lot of things and answered the concepts very nicely in your presentation. But we do have a lot of repeated questions that our registrants have asked. First one being, it's about the quality score. How does the Google AdWords quality score impact, and what can we do to improve the quality score?
Okay, it's a great question, and I didn't really talk about quality score, but when we are talking about how the keywords relate to the landing pages, that's essentially what a quality score is looking for. So quality score is Google saying, how good is the page? When someone gets to the page, like, does it load fast? Does it, if you're selling ice cream, does the page say it's about ice cream on it, right? They want to make sure that the page relates back to what the keyword is. They want to make sure that the ad is about the landing page and is about the keyword. And they want to make sure, so there's landing page experience, there's expected click-through rate, and then there's ad relevance. Those are the three primary elements of quality score. And it used to be that those were the only three. Now there's kind of some more kind of invisible factors or indicators, like how many ad extensions you're using, or how much real estate your ad is taking up, because Google only gets paid when someone clicks your ad. So they want to make it really likely that someone clicks your ad because they get paid. They don't get paid if someone clicks an organic listing. They only get paid when someone clicks your ad. So they want your ad to get clicked, and they want your ad to be about what you're saying it's about, because if it's not, then it's going to feel spammy and people aren't going to like to use Google as much. So that's kind of Google's motivation for having a quality score in the first place. It's keeping it from feeling spammy. It's keeping it from being a bad user experience. It's keeping it really relevant and tight. And that should be our goals too, right? We shouldn't be doing some sort of bait and switch. We shouldn't be doing something where someone types a keyword and the keyword isn't on the page at all. Like, they're not going to find what they're looking for. That's just not good for anybody. So you can kind of think of a score as the quality score keeps you honest. And if you have a low quality score, like if it's low because the ad relevance is low, well, maybe you didn't put the keyword in your ad, or maybe there's some sort of problem there. So you're going to want to fix that. If it's low because the landing page experience is bad, you're going to want to look at that and say, do I have the keyword properly covered in my headline? Is this what the page is about? Does it load well? Does the URL indicate that this is what it's about? You're going to want to solve for that. Probably the hardest part of the quality score to optimize is expected click-through rate, because that it's not really based on a whole lot, and there's not much you can do about that. But when you have a good quality ad and you have a good quality landing page, you're very likely to have a quality score that's good enough to. I'm just realizing I didn't explain how the quality score impacts what you do. So the price you pay for the click is a combination of how much you're willing to pay along with your quality score, how it ranks in the auction. So the quality score, if you have a really low quality score, what it's most likely to do is it'll keep your ad from serving, but it could also charge you more. If you have a quality score of a 10 on a scale of 1 to 10, then a really high quality score could essentially give you a bit of a discount, because Google's saying, yeah, every time we run this ad, it gets clicked. We like that because we like getting clicks, and so we're going to run it more. So quality score is just an indicator of that. And so you don't want to focus exclusively on an quality score. But if it's telling you that, hey, this thing needs to be fixed, then you want to fix it. If everything's working well and Google just randomly is like, oh, the expected click-through rate is low, there's not a whole lot you need to even worry about there. But if it's something that it's telling you like, hey, we don't think that your landing page is relevant, well, that's a good thing to dig into to fix, because their goals for quality score should align with your goals for quality score.
Great. Amy, one thing I like about your answers is that how you make, presumably complicated subjects sound so easy with those examples. And I mean that's really, really nice. So another question that I have, I have straight away copy pasted it from my list of registrants because I found it a little technical, so I don't want to make any changes to that. It is about responsive search ads in Google Ads. So 2019, the registrants asked that 2019 saw the launch of responsive search ads in Google Ads, and experts say that by the end of 2020, it will probably replace the extended search ads feature introduced in 2018. I wanted to throw some light on these two types of ads, what they are, and if this happens, how do you think it will change the workflow of digital marketers?
So the difference between a responsive search ad and an enhanced search ad or a standard text ad is that responsive search ads, instead of saying, here's my headline and here's my description, you're saying, here's a bunch of headlines and here's a bunch of descriptions, and I'm going to let Google choose which headline to match with which description. And you can see how this can present a little bit of a problem because, like, let's say I wanted to test, like, I want my headline to focus on benefit 1 and my description to focus on benefit 2. Well, now I can't do that because I don't have that sort of control because, and then let's say I want to test it against one that was like switched. Like, does this benefit belong in the headline or in the description? I can't test it if Google's cycling through, because what could happen is I end up with benefit 1 headline and benefit 1 description, or, you know, so it's either redundant or it's completely missing information. So that means it kind of limits what you're able to focus on, because it makes it introduces a test where you might want to have more control over the test. So I don't love that about it. But given that, you can just create multiple responsive search ads, and then you can solve for it. But then it just becomes you're like saying the same thing just multiple times to try to do that. So I don't think it should change the workflow at all. It's just you have to be mindful of the fact that you don't have that control over just deciding. Instead, you need to kind of create an ad that no matter which headline gets shown, that the description is going to make sense with the context of the headline and you're not just repeating yourself. So that's really it. It shouldn't change the workflow really at all.
Thank you so much. That's a respite. And that actually was the last question. I wish that, you know, the session can go on and on, but we kind of ended on that. And so guys, I hope you enjoyed the session. Thank you so much, Amy, for being here with us and sharing such insightful nuggets with us. It was really, really amazing. I'm sure there are going to be multiple replays of this particular session after the session gets over, because a lot of our registrants, because they can't attend the event, they register for it and they look forward once they watch replays at their own convenient time. So that's going to be amazing. Any last thoughts, Amy? How did you like the session? Because we received actually a very good response, and I can also see this pop up. Guys, please go and join Amy's group on Facebook. And Amy, thank you so much. Any last thoughts? Any last thoughts about the session?
I mean, I just want to say this is something you can do. You know, it doesn't have to be scary. You don't have to go find someone else to run it for you. You can learn how to do this for yourself and you can have success with it. So I really hope that you get a chance to test it out, because it is really satisfying when you can grow your own business and then get that learning to help you with messaging and to help you with product creation and everything else that you can do with all that really rich data that you get from Google Ads.
Great. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. It was lovely having you here, Amy. And guys, this is not where it ends. We have a lot of events lined up for you in the coming days. The next event is on creating a profitable online course. It's a little niche, but it's an interesting one. So please go to the events page of Designhill, which my team would be putting in, the link of which my team would be putting up in the chat section. This particular session was indeed a value-packed session, although there's a lot more that we could have discussed. But unfortunately, we are limited by time here. I hope you guys loved the session. Once again, I would like to thank you, Amy, for taking out time to be a part of this event. Guys, to stay updated with events like these, you can follow us on our LinkedIn page. You can also give suggestions on the topics you would like us to cover and speakers you want us to host. I'm dropping the link of our LinkedIn page in the chat again. To watch the session and other wonderful events, subscribe to our events section on designhill.com/events or visit our official YouTube channel, Designhill. You can find the link in the chat again. For all the designers and artists who are listening to this and wish to be a part of this thriving design community, visit designhill.com. Also, we are soon launching some cool design challenges which are worth $5,000. Any designer and non-designer can be a part of it. Create some awesome designs using our DIY Designhill tool called Designhill Studio. Guys, check more about it. You can find the link in the chat. On that note, I would like to say bye to everyone who joined us here today. Take care, guys, and stay safe. Thank you so much, Amy, once again.
Thanks so much.